Reports of the National HIV and AIDS Indicator and Impact Survey indicates that 1.9 million people are living with HIV in Nigeria, with about 1 million already receiving treatment. As the world marked this year's World AIDS Day, the focus is on communities. Now, how can the communities make the difference, and what is the possibility of achieving zero new HIV infections? This and more is our focus on Panorama today. With me, Ian Ray John. Welcome. All is now set for President Muhammadu Buhari to perform the groundbreaking ceremony for the Transportation University in Daura, Katsina State on Monday. The institution, expected to gulp 18 billion naira, is in furtherance of government's efforts at developing quality manpower that will manage railways and other transportation facilities across Nigeria. State House correspondent Jide Adamusambu reports.
In preparation for the epoch-making event, the highly elated and enthusiastic governor of the state, Aminu Bello Masari, led some senior government officials to show appreciation to President Muhammadu Buhari. Discussions at the meeting centered on ways and means of ensuring that the institution achieves the objective for its establishment when completed and put to use.
We are very, very happy. You know, Katsina is a state of education. So additional university, especially of transportation, will add more to the value in Katsina State, and we are grateful to Mr. President for accepting to site this university in the state.
Governor Aminu Bello Masari also used the opportunity to brief the Nigerian leader on the prevailing security situation in Katsina State as a result of the far-reaching measures put in place by both the state and the federal government.
Yesterday we had a by-election in one of the most troubled local governments, and we had it peacefully. Even throughout the night there was no single instance. So we are happy with the efforts we are making, and we believe that we will continue to maintain, engage and dialogue with all concerned so that we have a lasting peace. Our aim is to restore normalcy to Katsina State. Inshallah, we will be there.
Apart from the groundbreaking event for the Transportation University, President Muhammadu Buhari is also expected to inaugurate a road project executed by the Masari administration. From Daura, Katsina State, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Nigeria will witness an influx of God's blessings and prosperity before the year runs out and in the years to come. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo gave this assurance at a special Thanksgiving service by the Villa Chapel to mark the beginning of the month of December 2019. House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
I take my wings of the morning and dwell in God's paths of the sea. Even there, your hand shall lead me.
The prophet has appeared amongst us. They said, God has come to help his people.
These are prophetic words from the scriptures establishing the love of God for his people. And as chaplain of the Aso Villa Chapel, Sheyi Malomon says in his sermon titled God of Advanced Knowledge, the people of Nigeria, he notes, have cause to rejoice and give thanks for the love of God for the country, stressing that getting to the end of the year is a landmark achievement.
This is hands from our lives for just 1 minute. Because sometimes God will tell the children of Israel, I'm going to send you on Elsa so that you will know the difference between my lordship and the lordship of the heaven. And the difference is too clear.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo led the congregation in prayers for the nation.
With abundance, to come with joy, to come the end of this year with thanksgiving.
Psalm 65 verse 11 tells us that God is going to crown this year, the end of this year, with his goodness and with his abundance. And he will give us the fatness of the land in the mighty name of the Lord Jesus. So I believe very strongly that God is going to bless this land and prosper this land. Not just at the end of this year, but the coming year will be even more glorious.
God is a God of advanced knowledge. He knows about Nigeria, and so we have to thank him because he knows this nation. He cares for this nation and is showing compassion to this nation. So we have every cause to always give thanks.
There's unity between executive arm and the legislative arm, and we've been working in collaboration, moving this country forward, and generally just being alive. Yes, we have everything to thank to God.
The month of December is a month of giving. It's a month of reaching out, particularly to the less privileged.
From the Aso Villa Chapel, Jude Onifade, NTA News.
And away from the villa now, Christmas appears to have come early this year, with the Radio Nigeria, NTA, VON Choir treating Nigerians and the world to its annual service of 9 lessons and carols. Victor Azu reports that the theme for this year is Jesus in the midst of the storm.
Adoration unto you. In the true spirit of Christmas, we come with our hearts open unto you to receive this gift. May you internalize this gift in each and everyone's life in the name of Jesus.
Now talking security. The Defense Headquarters has been notified of false information peddled in the social media, insinuating that de-radicalized Boko Haram members are being absorbed into the Nigerian military. A statement by the Acting Director of Defense Information, Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu, states that the information is false and misleading. The De-radicalization, Rehabilitation and Reintegration Program is a federal government initiative for low-risk and repentant Boko Haram members that surrendered to federal troops and have been de-radicalized, rehabilitated and reintegrated into the society. The statement stressed that while the de-radicalization program under the Operation Safe Corridor is deflating the terrorist force, there is no plan to recruit the former Boko Haram members into the military. It also notes that about 500 terrorists have so far been convicted. Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar says the Nigerian Air Force will continue to accord priority to the welfare of troops on the front line for optimum performance in the theatre. The Chief of Air Staff stated this while inaugurating block of flats for officers at the 105 Composite Group of the Nigerian Air Force in Maiduguri. Abubakar Mohammed Musa reports.
Inaugurating one block of 10 flats as well as 2 blocks of 6 by 2 bedroom flats, the Chief of Air Staff said the development will certainly motivate personnel to embrace the highest level of professionalism. Air Task Force Commander Operation Lafi Adoli, Air Commodore Precious Amadi, charged men and women to consolidate efforts of the Chief of Air Staff by sustaining the winning momentum against Boko Haram insurgents. The Chief of Air Staff was also at the Nigerian Air Force Emergency Hospital at Dalori 1 IDP camp, where he inspected various sections of the facility, a classroom as well as borehole.
Very happy with what I have seen. We need to do some few other things to make the place better and more conducive, and we are going to do that.
Executive Chairman, State Emergency Management Agency Yaba Okolo, appealed to the Air Force to extend its medical services to local governments where people have returned. In Maiduguri, Abubakar Mohammed Musa, NTA News.
And now talking health, the federal government says it is committed to curtailing the rate of infections and spread of HIV and AIDS through effective collaboration with relevant partners within and outside the country. Correspondent Amina Baba Suleiman reports that the Minister of Health, Usagi Hanira, stated this during an interaction with journalists to commemorate World AIDS Day.
Post-exposure prophylaxis, condom promotion and distribution, elimination of mother-to-child transmission, campaign against violence against women, harm reduction strategies, as well as treatment, care, and support.
If you feel stigmatized and you feel you don't want everyone to know, you can call aside. We have a call center as 6222. When you call that number, somebody will attend to you and will help you wherever you're located in this country.
The World AIDS Day is an annual event to reflect and collect response in tackling the spread of HIV and AIDS. This year's focus is on making a difference in communities. And with me in the studio live to discuss about this year's celebration of World AIDS Day is Dr. Daniel Ndukwe, the Deputy Director, Health Sector Response Supports National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA. Many thanks for joining us, Doctor.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
All right, so the first question would be the fact that NACA recently launched a campaign on achieving zero new HIV infections. Now, tell us more about the campaign.
The campaign that was recently launched is called U equal to U, which means undetectable is equal to untransmittable. This is someone who is on treatment for HIV. If he's very adherent to the medications, after some time, the virus will no longer be detectable in the blood of such an individual. And when that happens, that person will not be capable of transmitting the virus to his sex partner. So it's a very good achievement. We are hoping that all those who are infected will continue to be adherent to their drugs until the time that the virus will no longer be detectable in their bloodstream.
All right, so stigma and discrimination with regards to persons living with HIV and AIDS used to be the issue, many years back. Is it still there?
Yes, it's still there, but we've made a lot of progress. The progress will be shown by the fact that individuals can now come up openly and say that I'm living with HIV. The time pass, most people will not identify that they are living with the virus. But that's not to say we don't still have the issue. A lot of people still have misconceptions about HIV, how it is transmitted. In fact, HIV has been classified with other chronic diseases like hypertension, diabetes, because these are diseases you need to just be in medication. As long as you are adherent to medication, you lead a very normal life. So ignorance is what is fueling stigma and discrimination. We know how HIV is transmitted. We also know how it cannot be transmitted. It cannot be transmitted by shaking the hand of someone who is infected. It can be transmitted when you eat from the same plate, share the same toilet, are in the same office, or your son or your daughters are in the same school like a child that is infected. So as long as there's no unprotected sex, no sharing of sharp object, no unsafe blood transfusion, and then if a woman who is living with the virus is taking her medication adequately, even the fetus in the womb is protected. So as long as we have taken care of these ends, we can't have the virus transmitted. So there's really no need for stigma or discrimination.
Okay, so now let's talk about this year's celebration. The theme is communities can make the difference.
Yes.
Can you shed more light on that?
Yes, our community indeed make all the difference. And it becomes even more important now that we are approaching the last mile of elimination of HIV. The truth is HIV occurs in the communities. Transmission occurs in the communities. Prevention also occurs in the communities. And now by communities we mean, in a nutshell, everybody. Because everybody is either infected or affected. You must know somebody who is close to you, could be a relation, a friend, a church member, somebody who is a colleague in the office that is infected. So if you look at all these various communities, have a lot of role to play. For those who are living with the virus, we expect that they continue to take their medications, let them keep going till the viral load becomes undetectable. That means they can't transmit it. For those who have them as relations, as friends, should continue to show them support and don't discriminate against them, give them all the support they need. Because if people begin to come up to get tested and then realize they're living with the virus and go for treatment, we will achieve a lot. But we will keep showing a lot of discrimination against them. They tend to hide. They don't even come openly to take their medication. You can imagine a situation where someone will have to go very far from his locality, spend a lot of money and time to go to another town, sometimes another state, to access treatment. These are all reactions to stigma and discrimination in the communities.
All right, you just mentioned of the fact that we're in the last mile of HIV and AIDS. What does that mean?
What it means? Okay, fine. In some time, we had a prevalence of 5.8%.
Okay.
That was the highest that have come to as a nation. Presently, it is 1.4%. The last survey, like you mentioned, NICE, that was done, shows we have 1.9 million Nigerians living with HIV. About 1 million to 1.1 million of them are receiving treatments as I'm talking. So in that last mile, it means we need to identify like 800,000 or thereabout number that are living with the virus. And that's to say we have to encourage them to get tested. You can do that in your community, in the church, in the village heads, community leaders should mobilize, make room for people to get tested, because the only way you can identify is to get tested.
Okay, so what you're saying now, it's identifying the 800,000 that have not yet come under the scheme.
Yes.
Okay, so once you identify that, does that mean that you're done with the HIV issue?
If we're able to identify them and then put them in treatment, effective treatment like we have.
What about new infections?
Okay, so it has a way of also reducing new infections, because an individual who is having the virus that is not aware does not take any measure to protect his or her sexual partner. But when you are aware of the virus and you're on treatment, then it makes it almost impossible to transmit it to another person.
Okay, fine. So talking about NACA now as an organization, do you used to get funds from foreign agencies?
Yes, we still do.
Okay, so it means that everything is under control, and I'm sure you're already working towards...
Yes, the funds are still coming, and then good enough, the federal government is also taking more responsibilities. Just recently, the President, His Excellency, has directed that 50,000 more Nigerians should be put on treatment and then funded directly by the federal government.
Okay, so what would be your advice now to Nigerians watching you?
So, everybody watching me, what I would advise you to do, go know your status. You are at advantage if you know your status. If you are negative, fine, you continue that lifestyle that keeps you negative. If you're positive and you're identified early, you will put on treatment that is very effective. That treatment works more when you're identified early. So anyway, it is a win-win situation for you.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us. Dr. Ndukwe.
Yes.
It's been really enlightening listening to you. All right. This is Panorama, live on the network service of the NTA. Away from health issues now, more than 30 eminent members of the law profession were honored by the 1989 class of the Nigerian Law School Alumni Association. Among those honored are Minister of State for Education, Chukwuemeka Nwajubu, and the wife of the Vice President, Olu Dolakbo Oshimbajo. State House correspondent Jide Onifado reports captured the mood at the awards and dinner night organized by the SET to mark its 30th anniversary, with Vice President Yemi Osinbajo in attendance.
The mood is that of excitement for members of the 1989 set of the Nigerian Law School Alumni Association. 50 years ago seems like yesterday, as they exchange pleasantries and even to remind each other of pranks played way back in school. With a minute's silence, members remembered those that had passed away to the great beyond. The set is also happy with the achievements and the height attained individually, either through active practice of the profession or on other engagements.
I think it is important for us, those of us who practice and those who do not, especially those who do not practice, we can become strong lobbyists, very strong lobbyists for judicial reform. Men and women trained in the law generally have a much greater duty than most other people to find practical means of fulfilling the constitutional promises of equality before the law or social justice. And you have the ability to do so whether you are in active practice or not.
Award presentation was in 3 categories. Category 1 is to 26 members of the set who are now judges. The second category goes to 19 senior advocates of Nigeria from the set. And the third category goes to 12 of the members who are now professors. Wife of the Vice President Olu Dolakbo Oshimbajo, Minister of State for Education Chukwuemeka Nwajuba, and the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice Delta State Peter Mrapo are members of the Law School Alumni Association 1989 set who received special award.
Continuing learning is the order of the day because knowledge is the currency all over the world. We need to position ourselves as lawyers to be able to compete globally.
The reunion began in 2013, and this is the 5th award ceremony by the association. In Abuja, Jide Onifade, NT News.
It's still Panorama, and it's now time to take a break.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's stop fighting each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion. We are one, let's live together. How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one, let's live together.
Nigeria, the only country we can train with remarkable potentials to excel. Let us believe in ourselves and change our attitude for the sake of our country and generations unborn. Let us revive our cultural values, which are our essence as a nation. Let us renew the spirit of patriotism and hope in our dear country. Do not take or give bribe. Be punctual always. No more African time. We can't expect to be global citizens and operate on African time. Join the queue. Insist that people are attended to on a first-come basis, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Nigeria, good people, great nation.
Many thanks for staying. Let's now talk sports. Nigeria fails to qualify for Softball World Cup, as Amanzi Marcus now reports.